Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Thursday. Again, let's get specific when we say that. 82 degrees right now. This seems way warmer, way earlier than normal. And I don't know what that means as we get to tornado season. I'm not about to try to play staff meteorologist there, other than to say, enjoy the nice weather. We will not be with you tomorrow. Like most of you, we will celebrate Good Friday and hope for all of you a terrific Easter weekend with family and friends. Let's start in Murfreesboro. Say hello to former NFL quarterback Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
George, I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Little warm outside for this time of year. You'd like to still feel a little coolness in the air, but it's not today.
No, it is not. Let me also kind of tell people I am awaiting word. Normally, Lee Fowler would be on with us today. I got word earlier that may be up in the air, and if it is, Kelly, I have an alternative plan.
I know that's the thing, man. When you don't have a good play going up to the line of scrimmage, you got to check with me. You got to make an audible. You got to call Brown. And Bruce Arians always said, what's Brown? That means we're in a bad spot. So we're going to use the word Brown, and then we're going to change the play to get out of a bad play. So there you go. You have to adjust.
Here's the other one that always looked cool at the line of scrimmage. You see this one a lot, Kelly, where they give you this, but I always liked.
I was talking to a guy that was at my house, which was a former MTSU guy. He's in the Hall of Fame now, but he told me he told me about a story when we were playing Austin Peay, and I looked out there to the. Of course, I don't remember this, but Dennis Mims was my receiver, and I looked out there to Dennis, and I gave him a check, and he looked at me and goes like this, and I go, run a up, out, and up. And the Wes told me, he was like, I just think you said running out and up. And he's like, there's no way that's going to work. And he said, you know what? He said, he did it. You threw it and y'all scored. So much for knowing everything. You know what I'm saying?
That's beautiful. So Parker, did you ever audible? First of all, did your coach even think about allowing you to audible?
Actually, as a true freshman, I got to audible.
Oh, my God.
Oh, gosh.
Kelly, one of my favorite things that I ever did, it was one of our plays. It was this. We ran no huddle. We ran the air raid my freshman year. This just meant 4 verts. One of the easiest play calls ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I loved it. It was
Jalen Hurts knows that play.
Don't steal my thunder, George. That is in the update. Some friction brewing in Philly, Kelly.
Well, duh. I mean, they act like this is some big story. People have known this is going on behind the scenes for a while.
It just hasn't been reported this, by Jeremy Fowler and all them quite yet.
I'm certain it has something to do with A.J. Brown as well.
A.J. Brown is in the story. I didn't get to read all of it. It takes like 30 minutes to read.
The whole roster is in the story. Look, they don't come out and say who said what, but it sure seems like a lot of people did a lot of yapping.
Yeah, they got a lot of chaos going on in Philly, God. Man. They're really good, and it was amazing that they've been to a Super Bowl and they actually won a Super Bowl. So they've been to 2 with Jalen Hurts and won one. But
he's the one too. Jalen Hurts played
just
well in both.
It's chaos, man.
Well, the story depicts him as really stubborn, and very likely when he doesn't like something, just to bring his own play into the situation.
Yeah.
And, the fact of it is his head coach has allowed it. I mean, if I'm the GM and I'm not happy with this, I'm calling Sirianni in and saying, okay, is this the way you intend to run your ship? Are you cool with this? Because if you're not cool with it, I'm going to ask you, what the hell have you been waiting on?
I promise you this, though. If Jalen don't like a play and he calls something else and it works, the coach will take credit. There's no
As long as
doubt.
it works. If it doesn't,
Right.
it's
Now, what the story depicts is that Sirianni has covered for Hurts quite a bit in the last, let's say, 12 to 15 months. Anyway, you have an update. I would assume it has some substance.
Oh, this is a juicy one, George.
Yeah, sure it is.
Juicy.
Juicy.
Don't take that out of context, please.
Yeah.
Nobody go and clip that on the internet.
Yeah, go.
I didn't realize until after I said it. Okay. Tyler Lundblade, he has a new home. The Belmont guard, he committed to Tennessee yesterday, averaged 15.6 points per game and shot 43% from the three. George, this is exactly what Rick Barnes needs, a deadly shooter.
He can shoot. Now, is he physical enough to play in the Southeastern Conference? It's a fair question.
And wasn't his knock a little bit on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, look, he's not a big physical 6'5" power forward brute, but now he can shoot the eyes out of it.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah, and so he should fit in beautifully there because they've got enough other, brutes on that squad to make up for whatever deficiencies he may have.
So, Parker, are you happy? Are you happy?
I watched a ton of video on him yesterday. Dude can shoot the lights out. And it's so pure.
Oh, yeah.
It's so pure. I'm so excited. So
I
hopefully
don't need video. I've seen him play in person
Rick
20 times.
Rick Barnes can get some more of those guys. The Preds have a big one tonight. George will be up, as he told us yesterday. They did fall out of the final wild card spot since they haven't played on Sunday. The Kings have taken that spot at 8 in the Western Conference. And ironically, they play each other tonight, 9:30 p.m. puck drop.
So, Kelly, let's boil this down to the low gravy.
Okay.
One of two things has to happen. One, the Preds have to win outright tonight in regulation. I say in regulation because you don't want the Kings to have points. So you want to win the game in regulation. If that doesn't happen, then to my way of thinking, they have to win in San Jose Saturday and then win against the LA Kings in a weird piece of scheduling where they play them twice out in LA in a 4-day period. Here's the Predators' big advantage. LA played last night, and when you get to the end of the season, back-to-backs are exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
The Predators better come out tonight with all guns blazing. Thank you.
Guys, do you remember when we brought up Kirk Cousins on the show yesterday?
Sure.
I
Do you remember when I said that he should go to the Raiders?
Yeah.
Well, that happened. He signed with the Raiders this morning. I haven't seen the details on the deal yet.
Okay, but let's not act like you cured cancer because that had been out here.
Well, why didn't you guys say it? I was the only one that said it.
Really?
Because until it happens and until
Hold on a second. If Tyler Lundblade signed yesterday, why didn't you tell us that yesterday?
I didn't see it until after the show. I was
Parker, here's the deal. Here's the deal. There's so many things that goes on until I find that the name's on the dotted line. Yeah, I did. Yeah, Parker's full of crap. Let's just be honest. When he doesn't know what's going on, he just throws something out there. He's not as bad as Billy, but he's creeping up.
Let's just see what sticks.
Throwing spaghetti against the wall. One of my favorite analogies.
Nice. Okay.
All right. A 5-year, $172 million deal with the Raiders. That's really a 1-year, fully guaranteed $20 million deal.
Yeah.
So that's what he'll be doing with the Raiders.
Okay. When you say fully guaranteed, the Raiders are going to pay about $1.5 million. The Falcons are going to pay the rest.
Yep.
Listen, Kirk Cousins, I'm a Kirk Cousins fan, but he ain't worth $20 million anymore.
Oh, absolutely not. And that just shows you the kind of desperation they're in right now. And
Kelly,
I don't know. Tom Brady's making a lot of decisions, man. He seems like and obviously he likes Kirk Cousins, and he can kind of get you a stopgap until you get somebody. I don't know if he can make it for a season though. I mean, he's getting up there in age.
if I had known this in 5th grade when I was an H.G. Hill quarterback, I
You would have
might
stuck
have
with
been.
it.
Well, I don't know about that because I didn't like getting tackled.
That's not how they make Greeks though,
Oh.
George. Greeks were the guys that were in Thermopolis. That they were tough
Yeah.
guys. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't believe that about you.
Look, you can't find 10 great Greek
Spartans?
athletes. Okay,
The Spartans,
it's Nick
baby.
Back in the
Markakis,
day.
it's Giannis, it's Giannis's brother, and then it's me.
But they're supposed to be it's supposed to be a tough group of folks, man. They held off the Persians.
Didn't they host the Olympics way back in the day?
Too much baklava and tidopitas. Keep going.
Greg Byrne, the AD of Alabama, had some interesting comments about the future of championship games. He said, quote, "I think the ship has sailed," and that's specifically in reference to the SEC championship.
Kelly, if Lee Fowler is not able to join us, we will start the 4:00 hour with that because unlike Parker, who's just going to throw crap up against the wall, I am once again going to give you the answer that solves the problem.
You were prepared. You've done show prep. Is that what you're saying, George?
You know it.
Hey, the SEC championship guy. I've told y'all, man, something's going to be like when you get to where they're at right now in the college football playoffs, and everybody wants to be part of that. They don't want to go to the championship game because if you've lost one or if you've lost two and you're sitting there on the bubble, they don't want to have it. And George, you had a good idea.
It's
3 and 4 and 5 and 6.
3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. Film at 4 p.m.
I agree.
LA Rams star receiver Puka Nacua checked into rehab yesterday. There's been a lot of events surrounding Puka Nacua over the last few months.
I've heard, man. Is it that bad, Parker?
Bad enough for him to check into rehab.
Let's just say, incredibly talented. I hope he's able to get his act together.
Incredibly talented, man. Just he catches everything. He's a big guy. Not overly speedy, but Michael Irvin wasn't overly speedy either. But man, you talking about a guy that can catch and make plays. Unbelievable.
They sure like to get him the ball in those jet sweeps, Kelly. Fast enough, I guess.
I know, but like he's not going to go for a long gain, but he can get you a first down.
We got a brisk pace on the update today, and I still have a lot to go. The Pirates are promoting #1 overall prospect Connor Griffin, and he'll make his debut tomorrow afternoon versus Baltimore.
We'll talk with Danny about that because there's some screwy stuff in that deal.
Tom Izzo made an announcement on the Dan Patrick Show yesterday that he heavily considered taking the Phoenix Suns job last year when he was offered it.
This is not the first time that he has been courted. I can remember the Atlanta Hawks going after him. Let's go Hawks. Seems like there's one more, but this is not the first time he's turned the NBA down.
He's done a lot in college basketball. Don't you think, George Parker, that he might have the urge a little bit to see if he could do it in the NBA? I don't know. I'm just thinking, and there's some guys that stick with college forever and love it. And he seems like one of those guys, but like if he's got a situation like that, I would be like, I'm going to try it.
I also think there is a tie, and I'm not sure I know for certain. Ishbia, the owner of the Phoenix Suns, I think has a Michigan State tie.
Selfishly, I want him in college because we need more coaches like him. That's my answer.
Izzo's 70. He doesn't need to be going NBA.
Agreed.
He won't be there.
Agreed, Parker.
The women's transfer portal's heating up. Audie Crooks, the Iowa State star, is entering the portal, 25.8 points per game, and she shoots 65% from the floor. And then the Lady Vols star, Talasia Cooper, is also entering the portal. So there's another Lady Vol that's gone. Sad stuff.
Do you all intend to field a team next year?
I don't know. It's a question for Kim Caldwell. I have no idea. The March Madness ratings were at an all-time high this year. I think Pete Thamel put out 19 million viewers during the UConn Duke game.
Which begs the question, okay, everybody talks about wanting Cinderella, but do they really? Because this has been a tournament where, Ishbia did play for Izzo.
Yeah.
Thank you, back at the station. We didn't have any Cinderellas. It was all kind of chalky. And maybe in truth, that's what the public wants, even though they don't say that.
Well, Lee kept saying that Nebraska was the Cinderella, so
Right.
I mean, is that what we're going to get? Maybe teams like that are not
that level,
right. Yeah. I mean, they're at that level, but they hadn't been to that level. So yeah, maybe, I don't know.
No more Florida Gulf Coast, Cleveland State, Richmond.
Right.
We're about to see the sarcasm of George right here, because the NCAA proposed a ban last night, banning players who have opted into the draft to return to college. No more Charles Bediako type situations.
They're right about that one.
Oh, I thought we were about to get some
they're right
sarcasm
about that
there.
one.
All right.
No, I agree with that. I agree with
how
that
did
as
you
well.
feel when Bediako played against your team?
Hated it.
Okay.
Hated every
Did
second.
you hate it because it was against Tennessee, or because you
No,
thought
because it was wrong.
it was wrong?
It was wrong.
Okay, fair enough.
Virginia's Ryan Odom has hired former Syracuse head coach Adrian Autry as an assistant coach. Odom and Autry both worked together under Seth Greenberg at Virginia Tech.
That's very special.
Yeah. And the Vandy boys will take on Texas A&M tonight from College Station. That'll be on 94.9 The Fan after we're done. 5:45 pregame, 6 p.m. first pitch, and the NIT semifinals start tonight.
Yeehaw.
Auburn and Illinois State and Tulsa, and who's the other team, George? New Mexico.
Tulsa and New Mexico.
Yeah.
Auburn better be ready. That Illinois State bunch, pretty good.
Yes, we will, Danny. We're going to talk about Connor Griffin.
Oh, we got a lot to get to with Danny.
We're going to talk about that.
Danny has no clue where we're going, but trust me when I tell you, it will have some spice. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Those of you who were with us near the end of yesterday's show, we had a very spicy conversation. Kelly asked me some great questions, and I laid some things out there the way I believe they are. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm right. But the man who absolutely knows is Danny Evans. I will claim that there is nobody more wired in the game of baseball than this man. And he joins us for his weekly visit. So I say, cheers, Danny Evans. How are you?
Good. Are we talking about jambalaya? Are we talking about paella? What's so spicy? Let's go.
Paella.
Okay.
I like it.
I love paella.
Danny, I want to believe that I have some clue about what's going on in Major League Baseball. But I will admit I was taken aback by a couple of stories that got out in the last few days. Number one, that the players have rat-holed $415 million if there's a strike in 27, and that the owners have rat-holed $75 million per team. Kelly, do the math. That's $2.25 billion with a B.
That's a lot.
Dang, Danny, that's some serious cabbage.
Well, George, didn't you know when you got those alerts on your phone about the 2.25 billion being withdrawn from your bank? Didn't that alarm you a little bit? Didn't you go, where is that going? In all candor, I think it shows you that they're prepared. It shows you that they're both serious. And it also is a very prudent, I believe, move on both sides to make sure that they protect their own constituents in the event of a worst case scenario. It does not forecast anything whatsoever except being prepared. And I think it's much like the money you spend for insurance, the money you spend for some of the reinforcements around your home that you never use. And I think it's always prudent in a negotiation to look at options, your BATNA, it's your best alternative to a negotiated settlement, and also, the best and worst case that could happen. So I applaud both of them for doing what they did. It really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that we're going to have a labor stoppage. It means that they've both been very, very prudent and strategic in their sides.
Does it not, though, mean more on the players' side? The owners, it's deck chairs off the Queen Mary. But for players, these are the 5 to 10 years where they're going to earn big money. And for them to set aside that chunk of change, man, that did get my attention.
George, the average playing career for a player is just over 3 years. Half of the players, I talk about this in my class every 8 weeks, half of the players that get to 1 year of service don't get to 2. So there's a more transient nature within the players group than people recognize. Only like 8% of players get to free agency. So as a result, when you're cognizant of that, I think what they are recognizing on their side is that many players, just like most people in North America, live paycheck to paycheck. And I'm not citing it's a problem. It's the way our world in many places work. And I think you've got to have that protection mechanism that solidifies both sides. But I do think one thing we've all heard, if we've been paying attention to the rumbles is they are having conversations. And in all the years I've been involved in anything on the periphery of these, George, conversations take place as much as 2 years prior to the agreement and its conclusion. So as a result, the December 1 deadline doesn't mean they start talking November 28th. They've been talking probably for a year. And now with the new structure of the Players Association, both sides are probably trying to figure out how this whole thing looks.
Now, Danny, I want you and I want the viewers who are watching this by way of podcast, I want you to watch Kelly's reaction because he's got this written down number 1 on his list, and I am going to steal it. Okay.
George, don't.
The NIT semifinals.
The replay system.
I'll figure it out. Hey, it puts me under a little pressure, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
You're not good under pressure, Kelly. Let's relax.
Gosh.
He threw for
Whatever, Parker.
I know.
He threw for 497 yards in an NFL playoff game.
Parker don't know. He wasn't even born back then. Shut up, Parker.
And Kelly didn't break a sweat, right?
But the bad thing was we lost, Danny. That was the bad
20
thing.
below. It was
Gosh.
cold.
Wait a second. It was 20 below? Are you serious?
No, it wasn't that cold, but it was cold.
It was cold.
Nice going, Cal.
It's January in Cleveland. What do you expect?
It was Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, wherever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both of them
Couple
are
great
beautiful.
towns.
Both of them are beautiful that time of year. So, Danny, the one kind of negative that to me has come out of the replay thing is that it is exposing 2 or 3 umpires at the bottom of the rung, and it's almost humiliating. And I do wonder, is there a way around that? Is this the beginning of saying, okay, those of you at the bottom, you're not going to be here for 28 years?
There's a sarcastic answer, and that is get it right. But they get it right the majority of the time. CB Buckner has been one of the poorer ball strike umpires in the game for an extended period. And those of us who follow the game really closely on a day-by-day basis know that. I think when people are exposed and they're inefficient or they struggle getting things right, in our world, it's cold, it's nasty, but it's real. And one thing about this technology, it is also proven how many times the umpires are right. And I love not having the strike zone superimposed. I think it's great. I think it's been a real nice change. Buckner's had a bad week. And for me, he's a terrific guy. So I don't like to see him get humiliated. But the problem is he had one particularly horrific game. I think they challenged 8 calls in all. But I think what we're going to see is, and I said this a couple weeks ago, George, and I said this on PBS last week when I was on their NewsHour show. You will see in the first month some growing pains and some exposure to some issues of some umpires' ball and strike counts, some hitters, some pitchers, some catchers, and their ineptitude engaging the strike zone. I'm guessing by May 1st, a lot of this stuff will be clarified and a lot cleaner. But I think so far, kudos to Major League Baseball. I think it's been great. Hasn't slowed the game down. The end of game ABS decision, I think, was great. It's the thing we all, want to make that last out of the game. We want to make sure we get it right. But the goal is to get it right for all 54 outs of the game. And I think that's happening now better than ever. And I actually like it more today than I did 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, I loved it. So I think it's good. CB's got to get his strike zone down. And, George, here's one problem. Fans are now more aware than ever of the umpires that they once casually knew about. This is getting to the Angel Hernandez level.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if you miss a call once in a while, it's going to happen. We all remember the 85 World Series. I mean, that was tragic. We remember Galarraga's perfect game being ruined by the great Jim Joyce, who is one of the finest people in the game, and sadly got it wrong at first base. And, we all feel for those human errors. Kelly, listen, you played. Guys make mistakes at times, and it's sad because when it happens, it's the Buckner ground ball. It's things like that.
Yep.
Our world doesn't really have a very big sympathy pitch in that area. And when you're exposed, we all feel it and we all see it. The key, George, is I think we just have to be professional about it, because the ones he gets right, we don't celebrate, but they heckle the ones he gets wrong. And, I love umpires very candidly because they love the game as much as anybody else. They are absolutely just crazy baseball fans.
Amen.
They don't want bad things to happen. And the really good ones who are great friends of mine, they never even want to be. One of my better buddies said to me, I love it when nobody even knows that I did the game. So to me, that's where I'd like it to go.
Yeah. Danny, watch this. This one's going to send Kelly into orbit. So
take another one, George. We're going to fight after the show.
And that's very topical with the current space launch. Very good, George.
So, yeah, exactly. So, for those who don't know it, Danny Evans didn't fall out of some turnip truck. He's a former Major League general manager, and it wasn't the Seattle Pilots or the New Jersey Generals. It was the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I believe that he's probably got an answer to this already. So, Danny, you and your former Dodger staff are getting together in a room to discuss the strategies of the new instant replay system. Are there one or two things that you knew even before this started that you said, okay, here's my rule. We don't challenge before the sixth inning, or we don't challenge. Is there something out there that strategically for you is definitive? Watch
George,
that.
I appreciate the kind words. I think the really good organizations, and I'm going to say I was surrounded by perhaps the best staff in the last 30 years in Major League Baseball. Guys, I was so lucky. The Dodgers let me hire people that were elite to turn things around, and we did because of them. We had a strategy, we had a game plan, but we were also very collaborative. So, George, to fully answer your question, I think you bring veteran players, you bring in staff, you field staff, and you talk about it internally with a bit of a brainstorm over some food and perhaps some brewskis here and there, and just go, what do you guys think? Now, I will say my first thing is don't let the pitchers challenge, because pitchers finish with a violent landing and conclusion. They don't have the same point of reference that a stationary individual does. And because of the violence of their landing, many times their torque takes their eyesight away from the target. They immediately that's an inherent bias. They think every pitch they throw is a strike. Well, what's really funny is in the minor leagues, it's been proven that pitchers were worse than hitters and worse than catchers in their decision-making on balls and strikes being challenged. So my first thing, George, would have been, no chance. You don't make the call. Secondly, do not take the game out of our hands in the last 6 outs of the game. I am going to have one challenge in our back pocket that we as a team can use in the 8th or the 9th inning when we need it. Now, think about this. When the Oriole game ended, and the Oriole game ended on an ABS call.
Yeah.
Imagine if they didn't have that in their pot of gold. So for me, it would have been that. And the third thing would be this. I think I would sit with the catchers with our group. And I had, Kelly, I think you'll appreciate this. I had 8 former big league managers on my staff. And I did that to surround people with people who had made decisions in the dugout. They helped the young kids early in their career and then nurtured our players in the big leagues, but also coached the coaches, which we neglect as a sport, as does every other sport. But this would have been the thing. Catchers, listen. You call the game. It's a massive part of the game. This is part of calling the game. Don't be emotional. Be pragmatic and strategic, because if you're good at it, I believe it intimidates the umpire to knowing, hey, this guy's on. He's on my game. I'm going to focus. But also, it tells your pitchers and your team, I'm all in. This is important to all of us. I'm not going to jeopardize our strike zone for personal benefit. This matters to me as a teammate. And I think that sort of accountability and responsibility, going like this is easy. I mean, there's times in my life I wish people were, I could do that to people and go, oh, come on, But balls and strikes, guys, this has become such a big component in the season's first week, and it's just going to become more important as the year goes on.
Kelly, Parker seems to take great pride when we butcher stat of the day.
So it's not a secret. I enjoy it very much.
So let's just throw it right back at him. Okay, New Jersey Generals.
We're not doing this, George.
Hold on a second.
No.
Yes, we are. Tell me about the New Jersey Generals.
I don't know anything about the New Jersey Generals.
Weren't they the Harlem Globetrotters opponent? Okay.
I think I know
Tell
that.
me about the Seattle Pilots.
I don't know anything about the Seattle Pilots.
Oh, my God.
What a great story. They're one of the greatest stories in the modern era of baseball, Parker.
All 4.
They're a one-year expansion team that played in 6 stadium in Seattle, had the coolest hat. I've got it right over here. And they ended up moving to Milwaukee and became the Milwaukee Brewers in 1970.
This is why I need people like Danny, George.
Well,
because I don't know this stuff.
Yeah, but you need to know this stuff. And it
know
spawned one of the greatest baseball books in history by the late Jim Bouton, Ball 4.
Kelly, did you know this? See, I'm not the only one.
Marty
He was
Patton.
studying in his playbook back then. Come on now.
Hey, Danny, Marty Patton.
Marty
Remember
Patton, former Kansas City Royal, former Seattle Pilot.
Okay, we'll go to the break. I had my fun. Kelly is discombobulated. I've taken all his questions. We'll see if he truly can handle pressure on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Nashville, get ready to make history. On April the 19th at Geodis Park, the Music City Rugby Shootout brings the first ever Major League Rugby match to Tennessee. It's a powerhouse showdown. The Chicago Hounds take on the three-time champions, the New England Free Jacks, in a clash you don't want to miss. Feel the intensity. Hear the hits. Experience the speed, the rivalry, and the electric atmosphere of professional rugby live in Music City. One match, history in the making. Be there April the 19th at Geodis Park. Get your tickets now at chicagohounds.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Those of you who happen to be watching our show by way of podcast, as we welcome all of you back, Danny's out of the picture for a second because he's going to get his Seattle Pilots hat. So, Kelly, Seattle was a one-year deal, and a guy named Bud Selig, like 10 days before opening day the next year, bought the Seattle Pilots, moved them to Milwaukee, and as Danny said, they became the Milwaukee Brewers. A little history lesson there.
History was made, and that's what I was going to say. Parker's throwing it at me, but you got two historians of baseball right now, and like Danny knows everything about the game. George knows a lot, but Danny knows everything. I mean, he can go back. He can go back decades. I mean, he can go back to the 20s and you people, man. It's amazing how he was in that league. He was head of organizations. And he knows it. I mean, people that are in those positions are historians of the game, and it's amazing the kind of things that he knows.
In the book, and we're stalling around for a second, in the book, Jim Bouton describes his pitching coach, Sal Magley. I guess they had the nickname Sal the Barber. And some of his conversations with Sal Magley that he chronicles in that book are absolutely priceless. What happened to the hat?
Kathy and I did such a good job cleaning up the storage area that the darn hat is in a bin that's behind some other stuff. And, no manual labor after 3:00, guys. I'm sorry, I'm not union. So I will wear it next week. But Parker, I will say this. It is absolutely the coolest hat I have from big league teams. It is just like ridiculously good. And I wore one when I worked for the Mariners. I worked a lot in Seattle, and I just wore one for fun. It was a real one, and I wore it to a game. I was like a magnet for the rest of the game. People are coming up to me going, "Hey, I went to games at that ballpark. Hey, this is cool." So Parker, you know what I'll do is I'll post it on social, George.
Yes.
Because I can get at it. And the senior vice president of the household will be very proud that we did such a good job cleaning up, but I just couldn't get to it in time.
Kelly, have you overcome the fact that I apparently
you did. You didn't take the other one, but yeah, you did on the umpire deal. But I'm good. So Danny, let me ask you this. Y'all talked about, and who knows? I mean, George says there's going to be a labor dispute. I don't know what there may be. Who knows? They might get this stuff worked out. But let me ask you this. In the world that we live in right now, and not getting into geopolitics or whatever, but gas prices, home prices, everything that's going on. And then George, I'm going to use the phrase that George used yesterday. which is a good one to me. You got billionaires that are going to fight millionaires. And will that have a negative effect on fans because they see, we got people in big cities sometimes, and we got people all over that are struggling, and then they see these guys that are celebrities that get on ESPN every day, that have celebrity status, and then they're arguing over something, and they're wanting this and they're wanting that. Could that have a negative effect on the fans?
Kelly, that never resonates with the average human being.
Yeah.
That just doesn't resonate whatsoever. People don't want to hear negotiations in public. They don't want to hear it with the school board. They don't want to hear it with the fire and police. They don't want to hear it with the TSA workers. Nobody wants to hear that. The difference is we're entertainment. And when you look when you have to go in a different direction to get your entertainment, it's hard to get people to come back. Look what happened in COVID. Theaters are just starting to get movies back. By the way, I saw Hail Mary the other night. Hello, what a great movie.
It's
really good. What we've got here, Kelly, and it's a fabulous question. There's a big segment of the planet that right now is all over baseball. Baseball has surpassed the NBA again. Now it's surging. As we talked about a month ago, the World Baseball Classic would kickstart it even further, and we were right. It did. I mean, there is just amazing enthusiasm across the world about our game. There's 20 nations reflected in Major League rosters today. 20 nations. I mean, that's a global game. And I think, Kelly, to remove a service-oriented segment in a strike cripples people, and it harms an already injured, I would say, character across the United States where there's some really bad stuff going on. This isn't politics. This is reality. My lens is really clear on this one. But when you start messing with an entertainment element, much like COVID, people make decisions. And what I would like everybody in baseball to do is recognize, yes, the complexities exist. Yes, they both have points. But this is a great time for baseball. And I would just hope that both sides recognize the real complexity of the fans' passion for the game at the same time. I think it's imperative that everybody recognizes the moment. And again, I am optimistic that we will have people at the table discussing real issues. The key is they have to check their egos and they have to recognize that it's the good of the game that they're negotiating.
That was an unbelievable answer. That's what I wanted to hear, man. That's unbelievable. But you're right. You're absolutely right. So I don't want to take up Parker's time because I know he wants to ask you about Connor Griffin. I don't. I got. Okay. So I got two more questions. One is one of my crazy questions, but this one, it's been an international league forever. And Japanese players have been here forever. And we got Shohei and we got Yamamoto out in LA. But you got two newcomers, and I know who you know who I'm talking about is Okamoto with the Blue Jays and Murakami. Is it Murakami at the White Sox? Yes. Murakami at the White Sox. What do you see in their game? Are they future stars like the other two?
Love both of them. Very different type of players. Okamoto's a right-handed bat with real good strike zone feel. I've seen him since high school. I love him. I think he's a real good corner infielder, a real good bat. He's got a real quick stroke, Kelly, and real good game feel. He played for a elite team, the Tokyo Giants, which have, Yankee Red Sox expectations every year, which allows him to make the transition well to the Jays. He's going to be a good player. Murakami has thunder in his bat. He is an absolute man at the plate. He's a left-handed hitter. He hits absolute rockets from left center to the right field line. Less of a defender, I would say a below average defender, but a way above average bat. He's going to strike out. He's going to walk. He's a little fidgety at the plate. And he's really funky about the strike zone, really picky. I love guys like that. Usually translates well. He has hit some absolute bombs, Kelly, and he's going to continue, but he's on the wrong club. I mean, they're a bad team, but he's going to be one of the bright spots of an otherwise dismal summer for the White Sox.
Okay, so hopefully this question won't take longer than your answer, but this is a athletic question. Okay, this is kind of it's just a life question. Okay, I'm seeing more and more young men. We've got one down here that's playing football at Vanderbilt, Jared Curtis. Mike Organ, one of our guys we had on, said he's the best football player, quarterback that he's seen in 41 years since he's been covering this stuff. But I want to know your thoughts because you're very logical about this stuff, and I love your answers to this stuff. But are you a proponent of these young men leaving their senior year, their senior spring high school, and going to spring practice or going to baseball or doing something like that, trying to graduate early? Because I think we put too much onus, and we're all in sports, and we love sports. You love sports. I love sports. It gave me my profession, yours. It's given us all professions, but we put so much an onus on sports now, and these young men, just like talking about summer baseball. There's some kids that play summer baseball every weekend. And when my son was that age, I refused to do that because it's not that important to me. Mm-hmm. But what are your thoughts on kids leaving early and going to spring practice instead of enjoying their life because they'll never get that back? Are we putting too much, are parents putting too much on sports nowadays?
No question. And Kelly, this is where baseball has a tremendous rule that protects both sides of the equation. You cannot select a player or sign a player in the domestic draft until their graduating class has graduated, until their class year has graduated. Now, you can go getting out of school a year early, but to do that academically, you have to qualify as a graduate. Bryce Harper, great example, okay?
Right.
So I think what we have here is a society that is also doing something else that I'm really annoyed by, Kelly. And that's asking players to play one sport. I think that's foolish. Let them play as many sports as they want because they're going to pick the one they like the most. And they're going to pick the one that they enjoy the most, that they like to participate in the most. Some guys are great in one sport, but they play another one because, you know what? I just like playing that sport a little better. I also think it promotes adversity. It promotes the guy's not the best player on his team like he is in another sport. Starts to learn how to be a better teammate. I don't like when they come out early and they come out and they go to football practice because to me, and it's very personal for me, I think parents are accelerating kids' passion to get older when we should instead be very careful about the maturity element and to be really blunt, the physical element that is the difference between a high school senior and a college freshman or sophomore. It's stunningly different. And it's not just maturity, it's just common sense. And a lot of that stuff comes in your senior year of high school when you're forced to make decisions and you have to start making the right ones. I think we shouldn't rob kids of their youth because once they get into pro sports, their youth is gone.
Gone. Thank you.
Just in time for my one question.
Parker, y'all have basically 1 minute.
So I was going to ask about the Dodgers, and we were going to continue our conversation surrounding the cap. But since we don't have time for that, I'm going to be a little selfish and ask about Pete Crow Armstrong and his ceiling as a hitter because he just got his extension. And I was reading an article on ESPN that talked about there's no worries about him in the outfield, but the concern was his ceiling as a hitter. So what do you see that being?
I know, George, we got about 45. First of all, Connor Griffin is going to debut tomorrow for the Pirates. Be excited, baseball world. He's going to be unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I love Pete Kerr Armstrong. Went to one of the best high schools in the LA area, Harvard West Side. Love his coach. He is always going to struggle with the strike zone. He's always going to chase up. He's always going to expand, but he's also going to be one of the greatest center fielders in the history of the game. He's reckless, a daring base runner. He's a catalyst, and I think he's an exciting guy to come watch play baseball. I applaud the Cubs. That was a great signing. Pete Kerr Armstrong is a reason to come to a game and watch this guy play two ways.
See you next week. You and I are going to talk. We're going to figure out how to get phone calls into this.
Awesome. And I'll wear the hat next week, I promise you.
I love it. See ya.
Great questions, guys. See ya.
We're going to have a fun second hour. Trust me, on the George Plaster Show.
Looking for bold flavor and big-time vibes in Music City? Head to Social Cantina Nashville, right in the heart of historic Germantown. From crave-worthy tacos and fresh Mexican fare to legendary margaritas, it's the perfect stop before the show, after the game, or anytime you're feeling festive.
With daily specials, weekday happy hour, and a lively atmosphere, every visit brings the party. Social Cantina Nashville. Loud, social, flavorful, and unforgettable.
Hey, Big Joe here. Looking for a career that really pays off? Join the team at Busy Bee HVAC. They're hiring residential plumbing technicians to work 40-plus hours a week with competitive pay ranging from $25 an hour to $40 an hour based on your experience and skills. At Busy Bee, you'll get more than just a paycheck. You'll enjoy full benefits, including healthcare, dental, and vision coverage. Plus, we set you up for success with a company truck, fuel card, and paid time off. Apply today at Busy Bee HVAC.
77578. 3-3. Join us for an unforgettable night honoring music, culture, and legacy at the 4th Annual Lorenzo Washington Day Gala, benefiting the Jefferson Street Sound Museum. Happening Friday, April 3rd at 6:30 p.m. at the Millennium Maxwell House Hotel. Celebrate the impact of Jefferson Street and support the preservation of Nashville's rich musical history. Get your tickets now at jeffersonstreetsound.com or on Eventbrite. The Lorenzo Washington Day Gala, where history, community, and music come together.
At DePaul University, your dreams don't wait for opportunity. We meet 100% of each student's demonstrated financial need. Nothing should stand between you and your potential. Visit depauw.edu.
In case you missed Chase and Big Joe.
Because the hat didn't come down on the back part of the shirt.
I thought you were just going to say that's because of Hermitage. But.
Man, Frazier, was he like this the last 3 days?
I'm kidding.
I mean, he had a good sense of humor to him, but I don't know if it was that far.
I'm loving it.
Chase and Big Joe, weekdays at noon. Your sports live here on 102.5 The Game.
Extraordinary homes deserve remarkable appliances. At Electronic Express, we bring the best luxury appliance brands together, all in one place. From sleek refrigerators to state-of-the-art ranges and premium dishwashers, our expert team is here to help you make your home exceptional with fast delivery and professional installation. Experience luxury made easy at Electronic Express and create a home that truly inspires.
Spring is here, and as the weather heats up, the sports action heats up at Circa Sports Kentucky. From baseball to basketball, hockey to golf, Circa Sports has it all. Circa Sports isn't just sports betting. It's sports betting the way it should be. High limits, player-friendly pricing, and enhanced in-game options. Whether you're looking for playoff futures or props on your favorite players and more, Circa Sports has you covered. And don't forget to visit Kentucky's largest sportsbook, Circa Sportsbook, located at the Mint Kentucky Downs. Download the Circa Sports Kentucky app or visit circasports.com today. Must be 18 or older and located in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Looking for a career that really pays off? Join the team at Busy Bee HVAC. They are hiring residential plumbing technicians to work 40-plus hours a week with competitive pay ranging from $25 to $40 an hour based on your experience and skills. At Busy Bee HVAC, you'll get more than just a paycheck. You'll enjoy full benefits, including healthcare, dental, and vision coverage. Plus, we set you up for success with a company truck, fuel card, and paid time off. If you're ready to build a stable, rewarding career, apply today at Busy Bee HVAC.
Call 775-7833.
I'm Emmett Smith. Be ready to rescue someone in an opioid emergency. Lay them on their back, use Narcan nasal spray as directed, and dial 911. Stay and continue to administer additional doses as needed. Visit readytorescue.com.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Express yourself. Express yourself.
Time for our stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. Oh, man.
Oh, good Lord.
Really? Okay. That's good.
What play helped the Tennessee Titans defeat the Bills in 1999?
What do you want me to say? The Immaculate Reception? I mean, come on. The Music City
The
Miracle.
Music City
Please.
Miracle. Let's go, man.
Please.
I mean, I'm
that's
good with
called-
that. I'm good with that. That's a little easy though. I'm good with it.
Ridiculously easy.
Connor feels bad for y'all, so he's
Okay.
giving you layups. That's
So
why.
the story that can be told, and it's been told before, is I didn't have any choice but to leave after Christie kicked the field goal to give Buffalo the 16-15 lead. And I've gotten just outside the stadium, and I'm walking over to the Wild Horse, and I hear this roar. And I come back, and I watch off the big scoreboard the officials go in the peep show. So the late, great Frank Wycheck is one of the people obviously involved in the Music City Miracle. Frank and I were very close friends. And back during that time, Frank was bringing a lot of his teammates over to the Wild Horse. And we were having unbelievable crowds, unbelievable celebrations. Frank has told me 2 days beforehand that he's coming over, win or lose. Okay, but Kelly, given the way it ended, I was like, there's no way he's coming. And I'll never forget, about an hour and 45 minutes into the post game, I have told Kevin Ingram, we had a segment where we'd go out in the crowd and let the crowd ask questions to the panel. I said, find somebody in there that's sober. And all of a sudden, and I think I've got on a boom mic like I have right now. And behind us is a curtain that kind of looks like the Johnny Carson show set at the Wild Horse. And all of a sudden I hear Frank go, hey, Daddy's home. You know, the way Frank would talk. And I brought him out during the commercial break before we actually got him on the air with us. And I have never heard an ovation quite like that. Yeah, it was crazy. That's story
amazing,
number
man.
one. Let's go to story number two. Parker?
George, remember when the 1977 Braves were 8-5 after 13 games? Too early for surprises.
So, Kelly, this is in late April of 1977. I am days away from getting a letter that stunned the world. You have been admitted to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
That was a shocker.
That stunned your parents, that's for sure.
Oh, my God. Actually, yeah, I guess it probably did. Anyway, so, you know, I'm a month away from graduating from BGA. I'm this huge Braves fan, and this awful team has started out 8-5. And I'm like, hell yeah, man, we're on a roll. There was just one problem with that. Kelly, do you know what it was?
I do not.
They lost. So they're 8-5, and I'm strumming, you know, it's going to be okay. Go Braves.
Yeah.
They lost 17 in a row.
Oh.
17. And Kelly, do you know what happened at the end of the losing streak?
I'm sure they probably got a new manager, did they?
Well, but it's not the normal way it would happen. Of course, Parker doesn't know because it's not 2020.
Or I
So
wasn't alive.
the team owner, it's called history. You got to learn some history.
George, we all know I'm not exactly a baseball savant.
Well, yeah, but you want to be in this business, you got to ratchet up some.
That's why I have people like you and Danny.
Some junk.
Grow up.
So here's what happened. Ted Turner, the flamboyant new owner of the Braves, he's been there for a year. He decides that he's going to manage the team in Pittsburgh. And see,
I've heard about this.
He tells Dave Bristol, the current manager, basically to get lost for a few days. And before the commissioner knows what's hit him, the team owner is managing. They lose that night. And before they play the next day, the commissioner sends old Theodore some sort of telegram saying, get the hell out of the dugout. You ain't managing. Ironically, they won that next game behind veteran pitcher Maximino Leon.
Wow. That's unbelievable, George.
So
that's unbelievable.
Maximino Leon. So when
George
that guy
it seems like they had pictures of Ted Turner in the dugout with his is that correct, with his uniform on, his ball cap on?
In fact, Parker should be able to pull that up.
Pull what up?
Pull a picture of the Ayatollah Khomeini. What did
Ted
he
Turner, man? Ted Turner being in the dugout with his uniform on and his Atlanta Braves cap on, because I remember seeing those.
George looked at me like I'm some sort of prophet.
But
I'm just supposed to pull that out of my butt.
No, that's not what we were saying. You said
Ted Turner.
What? And I'm like, are you listening to him?
He started CNN there, Hoss.
Oh, is this it? Is this it, George?
That's one of them. Put it up there.
Let's see here. I'll share the old screen here.
Oh, man. For those of you who are missing out on the visual fun, my apologies.
Here we are.
Okay.
Well, that's not it. You got to make it bigger.
Yeah. That is it.
That is it, though. I do remember seeing those pictures back in the day, man, of Ted Turner in the dugout with his uniform on.
Can you imagine what the picture that Parker's about to show looks like there are two trainers to the right? At some point they're looking around going, what kind of a loony bin are we running?
And the Major League Baseball commissioner told him to get the flip out of the dugout.
Get the flip. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. As opposed to where I thought you were going.
I believe that was the exact wordage.
Okay. So let's go to one story that got out there today that, oh yes, I now have the Lee Fowler story. Kidney stone, home in bed. Doctor canceled our trip to Indy.
Oh.
Having had 4 kidney stone attacks in a 3-week period in 2014, I guess I should say to Lee,
good luck.
Yeah.
That's painful.
By the way, this is a birthday present.
That's painful, man.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Brutal. So I just sent him nice present. Get well. Okay. So some of you have seen the story. Alabama's athletic director, Greg Byrne, has said the SEC should eliminate the championship game, his quote being, the ship has sailed. Okay, it will probably carry more weight when they get down to the spring meetings down in Florida because it's Alabama and they have played in this game a ton.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's right that the current format, that ship has sailed. It no longer makes any sense. However, Kelly, being of sound mind and body, Not that I think Sankey is going to pay any attention to this, but the future of championship week, because these presidents and these ADs and these commissioners don't want to give up that money.
No, they do not. And then here's another thing that I was just thinking about, George. You know, we've talked about the wins and losses, and if you got too many losses, if you lose that championship game, then that might knock you out of the 12. But you've also got to look at it as a coach. And it's one more game that you're having to play that other teams aren't having to play, and the injury increases. Like if you get your guy as your quarterback or one of the stalwarts of your team injured, and it's a key cog in that wheel, key spoke in that wheel, you're going to be upset that you had to play in the championship games, because everything now. It was great. It was great when it came on. When Alabama and Florida played that, down in Birmingham at Legion Field. It was great when they first started, and people thought your guy was crazy. But
Parker wasn't alive. We're not allowed to talk about that.
I've been to Legion Field.
Yeah, but you weren't alive when that started.
No, but I've seen replays. I love Legion Field.
But the way they put the onus on the national championship and the 12 teams now, that's what everybody's striving for. And it's why I've asked people on our show, are the championship games, do they mean anything anymore? And I really don't think they do. I mean, I know that it's cool to have an SEC championship, but that's not really the prize anymore. The prize is getting in the 12 teams where you have an opportunity to win the national championship. And I think you have to look at that if you're Greg Sankey. I have to think you have to look at that if you're all the commissioners around the country in these Power 4 schools. I think you have to look at that, because I don't know if the ship sailed, but you're right. If you're going to keep the championship games, you're going to have to put in some more stipulations where if you make the championship game, maybe you're in the top, maybe you're in the 12. I don't know. I don't know what they do with that, but something's got to change.
Well, what I'm worried about is because the SEC championship, to me, I grew up watching this game, but when we decided that we're going to expand this thing, these conference championship games, that's why Greg Byrne is coming out and saying this. And I'm worried that if we expand this thing even more, that's going to start bleeding over into the regular season, which is the last thing that I want to happen. Or regular season games now become meaningless because we're expanding this field so much.
So there's a couple of things here. To me, the obvious solution is to recreate the format. In the SEC, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, you go to CBS and you say, hey, you're getting a double header. You're getting a 3 o'clock game and you're getting a primetime game. The gamblers love it. They don't care one way or the other. Just give us some action. And teams 1 and 2 who are probably already in.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't have any reason to care. But 3 through 6 and 4 through 5, that means something. Think about this. Not a year ago, but in December, Georgia and Alabama played in the SEC title game. So there were a bunch of teams at 7-1. I am going to designate that Texas A&M, I'm going to make as my 3 seed. I'm going to make Ole Miss as my 4 seed. I'm going to make Oklahoma as my 5 seed. And I'm going to make Tejas, Texas, this year under my format. The SEC title doubleheader would have been Texas A&M, Texas. Oh, I don't think anybody'd care about that game. Now, would they, Kelly? And the other game would be Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Vandy would have come within an eyelash of playing under my format, but appears to, according to this, maybe would have lost out in a tiebreaker. Anyway, that is my solution, and I think it's the solution for a bunch of the leagues, not just the SEC.
This has already been proposed, actually.
3 through 6 and 4 through 5.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, George. So the winners. So the winners, do they get an automatic bid, or do they get? Is that how that works?
Are you talking about 1 and 2?
No, the 1 and 2 we're saying are probably going to be in already.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, that's an interesting point you're making, in that you could negotiate when we expand the playoff, because I don't think it's a question of if it's going to expand, it's when it's going to expand.
Right.
To me, that's an obvious solution for a conference like the SEC to say, okay, we got to have 4, 1 and 2 guaranteed. The winner of 3 versus 6 and the winner of 4 versus 5 get in.
And that's, I mean, I like that, because those teams are not just playing; they're playing for something. So, and maybe
back in the games,
because if you take the group of fives, the 2 group of fives out, which I think the group of fives at some point are going to have their national championship, which I think that's the way it needs to be. So they're playing for something. But then could you do all 4 conferences, the big conferences like that? And you could get all.
I
do too.
So here's logistically in the SEC, because I'm trying to help my pal Greg Sankey. So we would move the first game to 2:00 Nashville time, 2:00 Central. Be over in the 5:15, 5:30 range. Then you got to empty the Georgia Dome, because you got a separate admission for the second game, and get them all back in there. And you would start the second game at 7:20 Nashville time, with it ending around 10:45. Thank you, Commissioner. I'm glad to help you.
Here's what I'm confused about, which Kelly just asked, if this would be the same for all 4. So
I don't know if it could. I'm thinking
format,
that too.
Well, I'm just in this format, the SEC would get 4, and I'm assuming this would be the same for the Big Ten as well. With the ACC and the Big 12,
that's a different,
because you would have to have 16.
Yeah.
But I don't think Greg Sankey would go for that, because he wants as many teams from the SEC in as possible, and they would just be limited to 4.
Well,
I mean, it could be a sliding scale some way.
Yeah.
So say the SEC's got, teams that they got 3 teams that are, they've got one team that may be 12-0, and then 11-1, 11-1. I don't know how that works, but those 3 teams are in. So then maybe it could be 4-7 and 5-6. I don't know. I don't know how that goes.
I think that
how about 4 are guaranteed, and a 5th gets in, quote, if it's warranted.
Meaning like an at-large?
Yeah.
Because
if it's warranted.
I don't think
Sankey wants, because, it just means more, that he be guaranteed a 5th, and I don't think he should get that.
I agree.
Here's another thing too, George. Could you go outside of your conference and play other conferences? Like in some way, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty
John
good.
Gruden actually came up with that idea. He did a whole video on that a year ago. I thought it was actually pretty interesting.
Like if you got your 5th team that you think needs to be in, well then he's got to go play the other conference teams that think he's got it. So if the ACC's only got 2 that are going to get in, well the 3rd team, maybe the 5th team from the SEC has to play the 3rd team from the ACC. Something like, I don't know how you would do that.
Here to me is the story. Okay. Not that I'm trying to put Greg Byrne on some pedestal, but Alabama has been to more SEC football title games than anybody. Their athletic director, whether you agree with his opinion or not, has come out and said the game has run its course. Now, I don't doubt that he'll receive, lashes from the commissioner who, will be pissed off that this guy had the gall to say this, except that the guy's right. The 3-6-4-5 makes a lot of sense. Now, how we decide all the minutia, don't know. But I'll say this. I would think the networks would be very excited about airing. I would think CBS would jump through hoops to carry pretty much an all-day SEC doubleheader title format.
Same with the Big Ten. The thing is, I don't think that, because we all know the ACC and Big 12 are not on the same playing field, I think that what they've already tried to propose is giving them 2 automatics. So we'd have to reconfigure that as well. Because the SEC, no way Greg Sankey, no way Tony Batiti would be willing to give up spots so the ACC and the Big 12 could get 4.
By the way, the other way you could do it is to play one of the games on Friday night and one of the games on Saturday night. I'm just saying, there are a lot of options here. So
there's a lot of ways to make money, that's for sure, for those conferences.
We clearly have changed gears. I knew that Lee was in a lot of pain earlier today when he called me. Lee, if by some chance you're watching this, man, I have had kidney stones. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's awful. Okay, we're going to go to the break, and we're going to go then to your phone calls. And most of you who listen or watch this show, because you're in the Southeast, I would think you'd have an opinion about what Greg Byrne put out there today. Number one, do you have an opinion on what he said? Do you have an opinion on my format? What is your opinion of this whole thing? Because this is not just some random AD at Texas Pan American. This is Alabama's athletic director saying the game that we've played in more than anybody else has run its course under its current format. I want phone lines to hop. Red-blooded SEC people who have opinions. 615-759-9949. 615-759-9949. Based on a year ago, A&M Texas, Ole Miss Oklahoma. You could do a lot worse. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Celebrity Bowling Night.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
We will not be with you tomorrow. We will celebrate Good Friday like a lot of you will. I know a lot of you have probably snuck out of work early today, but those of you who are out there, we got some sports fans listening to this. I need a few more phone calls. I want to know what some of you all think of what Greg Byrne, the Alabama AD, put out there a little while ago. Your thoughts on what he said, your thoughts maybe on my solution. Is it a good solution? And if you don't think so, poke holes in it. But I need to hear from some of you. And you'll get in pretty quickly. 615-759-9949. That's our number. Okay, real quickly, before I go to the phones, North Carolina has not hired anybody yet in basketball, which tells me it's probably down to Tommy Lloyd at Arizona and Dusty May at Michigan, both of whom are playing in the Final Four, playing each other. My guess is North Carolina's going to jump on whichever one says, I'm in. I do not think Bubba Cunningham is stupid enough to go after Jerry Stackhouse.
Sure.
I've heard that name thrown out there. Surely to God, he knows enough to say bombed at Vandy, and the minute they got him the hell out, the next guy perked it up pretty good. Watch this weekend and see where that's going. Anyway, okay. Looks like we got a second call. Is that right?
That would appear to be the case.
Okay, I want to get calls 3 and 4 up there as well. 615-759-9949.
Don't let Kelly scare you off. If you're afraid to call in, just call in. Kelly's actually a somewhat soft person.
Hey, at 52, I have gotten softer, Parker. I'll give you that. I used to be tougher than woodpecker lips, but I don't know where that's gone.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. It's just Parker talking, man. I told you when he's got a few seconds of nothing, he just says stupid stuff. That's just Parker.
Tony in Nolensville, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. The show is not off the rails yet, but it's been close. But it's been enjoyable. I will tell you that much.
Thank you.
Parker, I've got to compliment you. I'm glad you were able to get your one question in, and thank you for asking a Cubs question and PCA.
I did it for you, Tony. I did it for you. Even though you were going to embarrass me at Cracker Barrel, I did it for you.
That part's going to be fun. And by the way, you had somebody to flash a little note up there yesterday, and the day I made the bet, I was being rushed. I was under the 2-minute. George's give me 2 minutes, and
you can have 30 today.
I was being rushed, and I tried to clarify myself, but it is going to go on. And if George puts all this thing together at your expense and my quick thinking of a bet. This is going to be a lot of fun. We just hope we can get Kelly out of that house and get him to show up. It's food. I think he'll be there.
Questionable, Tony.
By the way, his home is a mansion.
Oh, here we go. Stop it.
Go to Kelly's house.
Oh,
You can come over to my house.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing though, Tony, is I have a security gate. The question is, will I let y'all in? That's the big question.
Oh, Kelly.
Security gate.
Oh, Mr. Moneybags over there.
Hootie snooty.
I share it with someone else.
There you go. Guys, on this, what was said down in Alabama, first of all, George, first thing come to my mind was with him saying that, that's only because he's scared of the Crimson Tide not getting in there much anymore with Texas and Oklahoma and LSU, what Kiffin might start building down there at LSU and other things. I think that was the first thing he was thinking of. But because all Alabama fans I know, they love going to the SEC championship game over the years, and they've sure prided themselves well on it. So, but as far as the format that you put out there, George, I do like that. But my question I did want to ask on the matchup of 3, 6, 4, 5, if the winner of that game, so they would be not determined as a champion, but just they're playing for just a wild card spot. Is that correct? Is that the way I'm understanding your format?
It depends on, let's say that the SEC in negotiations and expansion is guaranteed 4 teams. If we're going to 16, they probably would get 4 that are guaranteed.
1 and 2
would be automatic. In my mind, I guess the winners of those games would be numbers 3 and 4 automatic. So, yeah, if you want to call them wild cards, sure.
Okay. And one other question, too. Why would we have to play, and like you say, there's a lot of options out there, with the new Titan Stadium coming out? Wouldn't it be something to have one of the playoff games at the Titan Stadium and one game at the Georgia Dome or down there at the Mercedes-Benz?
Love that idea.
That's a good idea, Tony. That really is a good idea.
That is a great idea.
Instead of having to play 2 at one place and clear it out and bring everybody back in and all the chaos that would create, it'd really be nice to have them in a back-to-back time slot anywhere from 12 to 6 and one of the games being played right here in Nashville.
That's pretty good.
I think that would be great. And as far as the other conferences, if they go to the 24, I think you could actually do this with the other conferences if everybody was on board to agree to it. Of course, we know there's going to be the Sankey and all of them don't want to give up their spots. But I think that could still be done, and I think it would still leave 4 or 5 slots to the mid-majors, the group of 5. I think it'd still leave 4 or 5 slots for them.
Let me ask this question. Does anybody believe this is going to 24? The first time I heard that, of course, it came out of the Big Ten Commissioner Petiti. I thought it was nuts.
I think that's crazy too. I would stick at 16 if they're going to 16. I don't know. 24 is a lot, man. Golly.
It's a lot, and it's a lot of weeks. And one other thing, George, on the, if you want to call them the playing games or whatever you want to call this, your format, which I do like, would that be on the Saturday that Army-Navy plays, and they would be able to play at 11 in the morning and have their own time slot?
In theory, let me try it the way it has been. So these games let's make up the date December the 5th.
Okay.
Let's just make up that date. Army Navy, December the 12th, although the Army coach came out a few weeks ago and said we'd be better off going Thanksgiving weekend like it used to be. Of course, President Trump, I think, has signed something into effect.
He did.
Executive order.
Yeah.
Nothing can compete with Army Navy.
Nothing can compete with the Army Navy game. It's got to be the only game of the day.
Well, that just throws a wrinkle into a lot of it.
Sure does.
Tony, let me ask you this question. Of course, my school's a Group of 5 school. Does it seem like people are getting tired of the Group of 5 deal where the two teams get in and it's not a really competitive deal? I think personally, at some point, the Group of 5 have to have their national championship game by themselves. I think you could sell that to ESPN or you could sell that to somebody, and I think it would be a huge deal because I think people would watch because they love football in this country. But don't you think people are kind of getting tired of 2 years into this, of the Group of 5s not giving much of, you can't compete anymore because of the money.
Because of the money. And, these stories, Kelly, the Boise State of the year they beat Oklahoma and Fiesta Bowl and all that. George, help me out here. Wasn't it Utah, the great year they went and played in
the Bama and Sugar Bowl.
Right. Yep. I think those Group of 5 teams then that's not the same Group of 5 it is today. Because
it is not.
Because of the now.
Correct.
I think you're right I think it would be good for the Group of 5s to create their own national championship. Still something proud to hang your hat on. And at the same time, I think they could schedule those games during the middle of the week or on the tail end of the weekends, and we would have football. We almost do now anyway, anywhere from Thursday to Sunday, and I think that's what that would be. So
I agree.
There's a lot of options, a lot of things to talk about. I think if a lot of good heads would get in a room and talk about it, your Cutcliffe, your maybe if you want to throw Urban Meyer in there, if you wanted to throw in even Philip Fulmer, maybe some of these other guys who really got a good sense for the game, I think it'd be great to have them. I don't want to take no more of your time, George. I know you got another caller or two, but boy, this will be fun stuff to discuss. That Cracker Barrel, Parker.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. They have good food at Cracker Barrel.
They do. Country fried steak and mess that up.
Mike in Melrose, you know a little something about Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, and I'll mention something about the wager now. I am glad he lost the wager now, but I thought it was just about him wearing a jersey, and all of a sudden he got roped into buying 3 meals, which
I know. It's funny how that works, Mike, isn't it?
Well, there's a group of men that meet at the Cracker Barrel in Sitco every Monday morning, and when that check comes out, there's a lot of alligator arms, and father usually picks up the check between George and Boots Donnelly, and that group went from 5 to 12 people, and so yeah, that might be an option for you right there. And they all throw in a couple of dollars for the tip, but I kind of wish
how would you classify the BS meter at that breakfast?
Well, I hadn't shown up in a while because I couldn't squeeze in the table, and I've heard the stories, and you can't get a word in edgewise. But I just wish I'd have got in on the bet with a side bet with Parker, and he would have to. He would have to get one of my nice candy mugs over here for the rest of the year. But anyway, hey, I do like your idea for the format, George. I would say so. The the team who wins the regular season still gets the trophy and the banner, though, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
And then the only thing I would recommend is don't put it in stone as far as like 3 playing 6 and 4 and 5, because let's try to avoid a rematch. That way you get to play somebody you haven't played. But yeah, I do like that idea. And yeah, let's try to put one here in the new stadium and not let Atlanta have all the games down there. But it sounds like a plan. All right, anchor down. Let's beat the Aggies tonight.
I like it. Talk to you.
See you.
Hey, you and your family have a great Easter weekend. So, those who may just be wondering, what in the world are they babbling? First of all, Lee Fowler, scheduled to be on the show, kidney stone. Bad news.
Bad stuff.
Painful news. I've had them. Kelly, I will never forget. You've heard me talk about the 4 in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
On the third one, like an absolute dope, I decide that I'm gonna walk it off. As a nurse told me later, that may be the stupidest strategy you've ever had. It's about 4:30 in the morning. I'm walking in the neighborhood and I am in awful pain. And I go by a particular house, and I'm a big dog lover. But this particular dog starts barking at me. I'm in brutal pain. I got a dog up my you-know-what. And I'm thinking to myself, dog, if you know what's good for you, you will shut the hell up and go back into your little penthouse or whatever. Oh, my God. It was awful. So, first of all, sympathies to Lee Fowler on that. I'll check in with him later. Hope he gets to feeling better. The story is that Greg Byrne, the AD at Alabama, came out today, and I don't really know exactly what prompted it, to basically say that the SEC football title game, as it is right now, in its current format, has run its course. And Parker, you may have the story pulled up. If you do, read me some of his quotes if you've got them.
I don't have it. All I saw was the ship has sailed. I think the ship has sailed.
Okay, hold on a second, because I will pull it
It was
up.
on the USA Today. I know that. So
Byrne puts this out here earlier, and now all of a sudden I can't find it. Figures. And says something to the effect of, this ship has sailed. And here's the thing. His school has been in this game more than any other.
I have it now.
Okay. Give me the quotes that he put out.
It's a great event. I don't like the idea of it going away, but I think it's a reality with an expanded playoff. Very fair. Coaches don't want it. That's what Lane Kiffin said back in 24. That was quoted in the article. Why have a conference championship game? Chris Del Conte of Texas said, if you're going to a 16-team playoff, you're adding more games. I would imagine it would be pretty good content.
Okay, the content, when they say that, they're talking about getting networks to pony up.
I think we need to pick a lane. We're headed for 16, and then there seemed to be a pressure for 24. So as soon as we get to 24, I guess you could say, well, we'd be better going to 48. I mean, at some point, we have to pick a lane.
Okay, so I would say that no matter, even though what Byrne is saying makes sense, some level of SEC football title game for now is not going away. Makes too much money for the schools. Right, Kelly?
Don't see it going away. No, I do not right now. And they don't have anything in place for it right now. So there's there's going to be talks like you talked about this summer when they have the SEC meetings and all that. But like I just don't see anything changing right now. But I'm I'm with the Lane Kiffins of the world, man. I think that it's. I don't think coaches want it anymore, especially when you've got a prize and they've made such a big deal about this national championship and getting in the top 12. Coaches don't want it. They don't want their players having to play in it. They don't want to get them hurt.
Kirby Smart would never say anything like that, but we all know he's thinking it.
No, absolutely. I mean, but that's why I think what George is talking about, because hey, you're not in the field yet. You're not in the 12. See, I don't know, George. If you got 3 teams or you got 4 teams that all have really good records and they're in the, I think it could be a sliding deal. I don't know how you do that, but I think you've got to, you got to go to the networks, or you got to go to Greg Sankey or something, and they got to figure something out. Like you said, Tony Petitti and the Big Ten, you've got to figure something out with these championship games, because the coaches don't want them. They don't want to have to play in it anymore, because it could have a detriment to them getting into the 12-team playoff.
But they will be the first ones screaming when there's not enough NIL money. And so that's what the ADs will sort of counter with is, look, we're going to have something because it brings in too much money to our respective schools. I believe that the networks would froth. In this case, I guess it's now ABC. It's not CBS. ABC-ESPN would froth at the concept a year ago of A&M in Texas, even though it's a rematch, and Oklahoma Ole Miss, even though it's a rematch. Think about how the first games went. Ole Miss upset Oklahoma in Norman.
It was a great game.
And Texas at home got the best of A&M. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They beat them. So I would be worried because those games would be played consecutively.
So what?
I just don't want the regular season product watered down.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm a big regular season guy. Regular season guy.
But how does it water it down?
Because there's a chance that, if you think about it, there's a chance that 3 teams, let's take Michigan and Ohio State, for example. In this new format of the Big Ten, they play at the end of the regular season. They could play in the Big Ten championship game, and then there's a chance they can meet a third time in the Big Ten. That waters down the regular season product, in my opinion.
Yeah, but Michigan or Ohio State is not going to. They're going to be 1 or 2. I mean, more than likely, unless both of them have a bad year.
It could happen. It's not likely to happen, but it could.
Okay. Anything could happen. Your hair could fall out of place, but it probably not because of all the gel.
Not with that junk you put in there. We'll go to the break. Maybe I need some of it. Stay tuned. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Here's
living with back pain. Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Nashville, get ready to make history. On April the 19th at Geodis Park, the Music City Rugby Shootout brings the first ever Major League Rugby match to Tennessee. It's a powerhouse showdown. The Chicago Hounds take on the 3-time champions, the New England Free Jacks, in a clash you don't want to miss. Feel the intensity. Hear the hits. Experience the speed, the rivalry, and the electric atmosphere of professional rugby live in Music City. One match, history in the making. Be there April the 19th at Geodis Park. Get your tickets now at chicagohounds.com. Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, a couple of program notes for you. Tomorrow, no show. We're going to celebrate Good Friday, and we hope you do as well, and that you and your family have a wonderful Easter weekend. Monday, our show will originate from Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall as we get you ready for a national title game that I don't even want to pretend to tell you I think I know who's going to be in it. But
between Illinois and whoever.
But Kelly, it would be wrong of me not to pick it, wouldn't it?
Wrong of you, yes. You have to. You have to step out. You have to be the capstone.
Do it. Come on,
and I
George.
will do that. Okay. So let me just say up front that UConn will be playing in the national title game.
Oh.
I kind of think you're right, George. I kind of think you're right a little bit, man.
UConn will take on Michigan in what I think is going to be that semifinal game. Michigan, Arizona will be an absolute war. But if Michigan brings what they brought against Tennessee, get ready.
So Michigan's a 1.5 point favorite. Illinois on the other side is also a 1.5 point favorite.
So these are official, but I did not take Illinois. I took UConn.
Yeah. I was just reading the spreads on ESPN.
Right, but I wanted to make sure you understood that I took UConn.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And I hope Taylor's listening too, and he hears this.
Taylor. That hat. Good Lord, that hat.
feels like cardboard, apparently.
Well, apparently he let us know that he didn't like the quality of the hat.
Yeah.
Which says to me, then go buy your own. Don't make daddy buy it for you.
I think it was a surprise, George. I don't think he actually went to buy it.
I think you're right. So, okay, Kelly, as you know, and let's go ahead and put my numbers up there, which are tremendous.
Dang, George, you're hitting it all. George, let me ask you this, because I got a sense of this today. Mm-hmm. I know you're an Atlanta Braves fan, but are you an Atlanta Hawks fan as well?
No, but here's the deal. First of all, I know virtually nothing about the Hawks. The Hawks have been, over the years, one of the worst-run franchises in professional sports. You go to one of their games, they have no home court advantage. Mostly it's visitors. But I got to be honest, I watched them 2.5 weeks ago, and I was like, getting rid of Trae Young and the young talent they have assembled, they're starting to make some real noise.
What are they? 5th in the East?
6th.
Okay.
Right now, they would play the Knicks in the opening round.
Trae Young got abolished to the Wizards too, did he not?
Yeah. Trae Young was absolutely hated by his teammates.
When do the
Was
playoffs
he really?
start in the NBA? Is it like 2 weeks from now? A week from now?
Same as hockey. You know, I take that back. You're right. They have moved into the 5 slot and would play Cleveland. Good Lord. The Hawks are the 5
Anybody's
right
game,
now.
huh?
Wow. Okay, so anyway, Kelly, because I've been killing it in the NBA, I knew that you would be like, man, well, you got to get back to college.
Cherry picking the Hawks, George.
So tonight, that's exactly what I'm doing for you, Kelly. I'm going to the colleges.
Okay, NIT.
This is an NIT battle. Tulsa is a pretty darn good basketball team. I would have made that game closer to a pick. By the way, the NIT semis are at Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indy.
Yeah.
Tulsa. That's the first one.
All right. Number
the
2.
second one is one of these, The Crown. By the way, The Crown, I happened to watch a little bit of that late last night, Kelly.
Yeah.
Close friends and family.
Yeah, there are nobody there.
T-Mobile Arena was empty. For game 2, they had
that sucks.
nobody.
Minnesota scored a whopping 48 points.
So tonight I'm taking West Virginia plus 1.5 against Stanford. Ooh, that'll be exciting.
That is excitement lives here.
No question.
Oh,
and
baby.
The last game that I'm taking. Have you seen Rutgers?
Awful.
I've seen Rutgers. They stink.
Creighton's not much better, but they're slightly better.
So we got 5 plays in the national title semifinals. We're taking UConn plus the 2 against Illinois.
Okay.
And we're taking Michigan minus 1.5 against Arizona. And then in these games tonight that you will only watch if you are unbelievably bored. It'll be Tulsa plus 3.5 against New Mexico. West Virginia minus 1. Now I've got here minus 1. Sorry. Against Stanford. And Creighton minus 4 against Rutgers. We are done. What a weak third segment.
Well, hey, we had to do an audible today, brother. I mean, that happens when you're ready for somebody and you got questions for somebody, and
stuff happens.
We got a big weekend coming up with Final Four. I mean, stuff happens.
Lee Fowler, get well. Talk to you Monday.
Godspeed.
See you.
It's opening week, Nashville, and your Nashville Sounds return to First Horizon Park. Head out to the ballpark this week as the Sounds take on the Charlotte